It was deja vu on the streets of Paris in multiple ways. After being relatively calm for the past few months, the Yellow Vest protesters returned to wreak havoc on the occasion of the movement's one-year anniversary. Demonstrators clad in black vandalized an HSBC bank branch in Paris and set trash bins and even cars on fire. Police responded by firing tear gas and water cannons to drive back the protesters. The police also blocked an attempt by the protesters to occupy the Paris Ring Road. An interesting sight this time around was that the violence was being instigated not by the protesters in yellow vests, but by men and women clad in all black. They erected barricades around the city using construction material and were seen hurling rocks at the police personnel. Since early summer, the Yellow Vest movement has lost a lot of momentum. The movement erupted in mid-November last year over higher fuel prices and cost of living. At its peak, the movement had more than 300,000 participants and posed the biggest threat to Emmanuel Macron's presidency. But on Saturday, many of them said that the idea of the demonstrations was to ensure that the French government remained on its toes. Partly submerged in water, Venice, the city of romance, as it's called, is sailing towards recovery, but today might make the coastal city worse. The conditions that have been reported are adding to those concerns after encountering its worst flooding situation in 50 years. Venice is likely to face an exceptional high tide today. More tide water is seen roaring into the lagoon city. The tide could reach 5.25 feet just after midday, according to Venice's Center for Forecast on Tides. In normal conditions, tides of 80 to 90 centimeters are generally seen as high but manageable. The mayor has confirmed an estimated damage of around €1 billion. The government declared a state of emergency for Venice on Thursday, allocating €20 million to address the immediate damage. The recent controversies surrounding WhatsApp hacking have not yet been settled. The world's most popular messaging service is back in the news now for all the wrong reasons once again. If someone has sent you an MP4 file through WhatsApp, you must be cautious when it comes to downloading that file. According to news reports, WhatsApp quietly patched yet another critical vulnerability in its app that could have allowed attackers to remotely compromise targeted devices and also potentially steal secured chat messages and files stored on the device. Facebook has issued an advisory now saying that stack-based buffer overflow could be triggered in WhatsApp by sending a specially crafted MP4 file to a WhatsApp user. To remotely exploit the vulnerability, all an attacker needs is the phone number of the targeted user and send them a maliciously crafted MP4 file over WhatsApp. This can eventually be programmed to install a malicious backdoor or spyware app on the compromised devices silently. According to an advisory published by Facebook, which owns WhatsApp, the list of affected app versions is as follows. Android versions before the latest ones. All of that on your screens now. The news, of course, coming just after the Israeli software Pegasus was at the center of the WhatsApp snooping row. This was developed by an Israeli cyber intelligence firm, NSO Group, that exploited WhatsApp's video calling system to snoop on 1,400 users in India and around the world, including human rights activists and journalists. The issue snowballed into a political one, and the Indian government denied either purchasing or planning to purchase that software in question.